Hi, welcome to Reddit Tea Time. I, 41 male, have an ex which I have 3 children with, one of which recently had her high school graduation. My daughter, Angie, 17 female, late birthday, invited me to her graduation and I'd said I'd be there. I'm currently in a committed relationship with my girlfriend of a few months, 41 female, who has a daughter, Lauren, 24 female. Lauren recently graduated with a bachelor's in biology. A week before the graduations, I was then given an invite by my girlfriend and Lauren to her graduation. Lauren's father passed away and she told me it would mean the world to have someone there to support her in his place. I agreed before learning what the date and time of the event was. Day of the graduation, I'm getting ready to head over to Angie and her mother's house to head off to the ceremony. My girlfriend asks me why I'm getting ready so early, so I explain it's in 2 hours. Got an hour drive and want to make sure I'm there on time so I don't hold them up, as well as travel time to the venue. Then she cuts me off to say that she had no idea that was today, and told me today was also Lauren's graduation. Lauren's ceremony was 3 hours after the start time of Angie's graduation. I did some math and figured I had time to at least be partially present for Angie's graduation, give her the gift I had for her, and take some pictures beforehand. But my girlfriend was not too happy with the idea, stating it would be devastating if I didn't keep my promise to Lauren, and that I wouldn't be stepfather material if I blew her off like that. I tried to explain I'd still be there for the entirety of Lauren's ceremony with this plan, but she just wouldn't listen, but wouldn't give me any reason why either, besides just me owing it to her and her daughter. I let her get the best of me and gave Angie a call, told her I was having issues with my car and wouldn't be able to attend. However, I would see her as soon as I could to get the gifts and take her out to dinner to celebrate with me. I went to Lauren's ceremony later in the day. Of course, I was in some of the pictures which were posted on Facebook and I was tagged in them. My wife, and probably Angie too, saw the photos on my page. My ex-wife is livid, saying I betrayed my daughter and blew her off as some other kid I barely knew or have any responsibility for. I tried to play it off like we took Lauren's car there, but she didn't listen. She said I could have done better, could have done more with stuff like Uber and Lyft. I could have gotten a ride if I cared enough to see her and pay the fees, but I just decided not to, and I don't deserve to be in her life anymore. Angie isn't responding to my calls to set up our agreed-upon dinner date to celebrate her achievement. Am I the bonehead, or are they just blowing things out of proportion? I can understand how not even bothering to attend partially would make me the bonehead, but I figured planning a day just for her separately would make up for that. Am I wrong? Edit. Me and Angie were never close. She's what I considered my different/boring child. Always on her phone around me, we never shared any interests. It's not like we were buddy-buddy. Angie always had social problems. I'm quite close to Lauren. She's very funny and outgoing, enjoys engaging in conversation and debate with me. I added this since someone said I barely knew Lauren. Now for some comments. You're the bonehead and you know it. All your justifications and reasons are meaningless. You lied and got caught. Yeah, and the edit doesn't make it any better. Maybe Angie is boring because she can tell you can't stand her, poor kid. So not only did you skip out on your daughter's graduation, you completely blew her off with a lame excuse too. Did it not occur to you that Angie would really want her father at her graduation too? That it would mean the world to her? That she would need your support? She may not have said those things like Lauren did, but she took the time to invite you to her graduation, so it surely meant something to her. And you blew her off with car troubles that weren't even real. You should have stood up to your current girlfriend more because you need to be supporting Angie too. You're the bonehead. You're the bonehead. Wow. Abandoning your daughter for your girlfriend's adult child who you've had nothing to do with growing up? That's disgusting. Your poor daughter, this will have broken her heart, and no, dinner out with dad is not going to fix that. And as for this girlfriend of yours, what a disgusting person you've gotten yourself involved with. She knew exactly what she was doing, making you pick her over your own child, and you fell for it. Well, you deserve one another. Apparently, her idea of stepfather material is a guy who'll abandon his kid if he doesn't think they put on enough effort. You're the bonehead. Don't be surprised when your daughter decides to not talk to you ever again. I, female 20s, have severe anxiety to the point it's affecting my physical health. I'm seeing a therapist and trying to get it under control. One of my anxiety triggers is babies and toddlers. I can't be around them for long. My anxiety also gets triggered badly by loud noises, so maybe that's part of the reason why. I don't hate kids or babies, but I always feel anxious around them and need to leave a room if they're too loud and rambunctious. I don't blame them because they're just little, but I'm trying to take responsibility for my own anxieties, and this is the only way I know how. I have a 3.5-year-old niece. She's adorable, but lately she's been throwing things at people for fun, I think in an attempt to play catch. This might not sound like too big of an issue, but she's big for her age and can really throw things hard. The last time I babysat her, she threw a heavy toy at my head and I couldn't stop her in time. My nose bled a lot, but nothing was broken. She also screams after she throws things, which adds to my stress. I usually have to stay in my room trying not to have a panic attack after these babysitting sessions. Her parents don't stop her from throwing things, and her dad encourages it at times. She's broken things around their house and they'll just shrug it off as a kid being a kid. Here's where I might be the bonehead. My niece's mom's health isn't great and she could for sure use a break. She asks me to babysit sometimes even though I work. I work from home, so I think people have it in their heads that I can just drop what I'm doing whenever. I don't always say yes, but when I have a slow day or niece's mom needs to go to the doctor for her treatment, I can't think of a good enough excuse not to, and I'll do it. I feel as though I'm obligated because they're family, but it's really been affecting my health, mentally and physically. I don't want to do it anymore, not just for them, but for anybody. I talked to my husband and asked him what he thought if I set a "I don't babysit" boundary for myself. He forewarned me that our niece's parents wouldn't be happy, but that he had my back. I feel bad knowing that her mom isn't well, but I also feel as though I'm putting myself at risk by helping out this way. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. Not the bonehead, and shame on them for thinking working from home means you're free. You're working. That said, your husband is right. Not the bonehead whatsoever for putting up that boundary, but make sure to prepare yourself as best you can for the inevitable argument that follows. Stand firm. Nope, totally reasonable to set a boundary like that. And rather than paying you, your niece's mom can pay someone else who actually wants to babysit. She was paying you, right? Rather than just abusing your good nature? Not the bonehead. OP replied, "Ha, no she was not. She said family shouldn't have to pay." Not the bonehead. Working from home doesn't mean you don't work. I think people should have realized that by now. Not the bonehead. They probably can't get anyone to watch their poorly behaved child besides someone they can guilt and sucker into free childcare. Tell them your job instituted a new rule where you cannot watch kids at all during work hours, and they installed nanny software on your computer, so you absolutely cannot watch your niece. If they ask you on the weekends, you either have plans or a big work project. OP replied, "The fun part is I'm self-employed, so I wouldn't be lying." Hi, welcome to Reddit Tea Time. So last night, me, 25 female, and my husband, 25 male, had a power cut from 8 p.m. and the power didn't come back on until 11:35 p.m. Background. My husband would love to live through an apocalypse or end of the world and spent a lot of time planning how he would deal with such an event should it happen. He also hates the fact that I don't mind lending things or giving things away to neighbors in need. I grew up in a place where everyone knew everything and you could ask them for pretty much anything and they'll try to help. My dad would see we had no onions for dinner, so me and my brother would go home to home until someone had a spare. This is something neighbors would also do. My husband grew up in a dodgy area, so is always a little guarded when it comes to neighbors. One neighbor has tried reaching out to be his friend, saying they should play video games together and lent him a video game to play. Event. So shortly after the power went off, my data ran out also. Bored, I played chess and draughts with my husband. Our children were sleeping and we had 7 candles lit, 5 tea light candles and 2 small candles. I had said I was going to bed as I was tired. It was approaching 10 p.m. and have nothing else to do. My neighbor, the one that has tried reaching out to be friends with my husband, was talking to us through the window, saying his 18 to 24-month-old was still up and they were struggling to get him to settle, especially as he was nervous in the dark. I blew out the 2 small candles and gave them to him to borrow, and he said he'll return them to us today. My husband was very angry. Once our window was closed, he told me I'm stupid for giving away our resources and that I'm being selfish by going to bed as he wants to stay up. He said when the world goes to crap, he won't rely on me as I'll give away our resources to other people. I pointed out the fact we have 7 candles and he said he was trying to give them 3 tea light candles, but he burnt himself on the hot wax. I told him he doesn't need to go to bed. He can go to the gym, which is 24 hours and unaffected. But he said F off and continued on his rant about me being selfish, forcing him to go to bed. I just went to sleep, and at 11:35 p.m. our power turned back on. He still seems grumpy today. So am I the bonehead? And now for some comments. Not the bonehead. Candles aren't that expensive, and the chances he can't buy more before the world ends is highly unlikely. Nobody would exist in this world if no one helped each other out sometimes. OP replied, "This is what I think. Why drive a wedge between the people you live next to and in a real emergency will be the first people you see?" Not the bonehead. You're not selfish for giving away resources, as there are no shortages in candles right now. You can easily go scavenge, aka buy more candles the next day. Also, anyone who is big on prepping for the apocalypse knows that sometimes helping someone out will result in help in the future. Not all survivors will be heartless. If they see you need help and they can help without dying from it, they'll return a kind gesture. That said, your husband sounds extremely childish and immature. I get wanting to be prepared for emergencies, but going as far as he is and being verbally and mentally abusive to you is extremely unhealthy. Your husband needs to work on his anxiety. It's causing unhappiness for both of you. OP replied, "He's extremely anxious. He grew up in an abusive household, being told everyone will stab you in the back, so don't trust anyone, etc." Not the bonehead. But if your husband is such a doomsday prepper, why don't you have a whole closet full of candles next to bushels of dried beans? Not sure he's going to make it through the apocalypse with that lack of foresight. 1 zombie and he's a goner with only 7 candles. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you liked this story, please consider subscribing. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Bye for now.